What's up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm George. This is the Model Railroad Show, and today we're talking about passing sidings. So what's up today? Yes, we're talking about an important design element to your railroad, the passing, uh, passing siding, the passing track, whatever you want to call them. It's essentially a track of rail that runs parallel to your main line that is connected at either end to the main line with a turnout or a switch, whichever you refer to them as. It allows basically a train to pull off of the main line onto the siding and let another train, a priority train or a train going the opposite way, to either pass, and it clears the main line. Sometimes it's not a train going the opposite way. Sometimes it might be a train that's overtaking. Very typically, especially like if you're early, like modeling the pre-50s, passenger trains had, the priority, right? Trains move, a lot of freight was moved, but passenger trains were on a schedule and they were the priority. And a little bit about what you may not know, a little railroad fact is these passenger trains that were timed, if these trains were late and they were consistently late, the railroads were fined by the government. So another rabbit hole we can go down in another video, but interesting fact. Now, passing sidings, very important element to the railroad. Like I said, they allow, a good operation. They put some good operational interest into your railroad very easily. They mix up, what your main line may look like. I have, Belvedere in Delaware behind me, runs from Trenton up to essentially Phillipsburg is where it, ran to for a long time, and then further north, all the way to Belvedere. But single track main line and a number of passing sidings. That is essentially what it was. It was a single track that was littered with passing sidings, all the way up the line. And those passing sidings were usually located near towns and near junctions, or interchange track, what have you. It's they had one that was right by Frenchtown that I have. And the interesting thing about these passing sidings is they were functionally usually located outside of the town, on like the outskirts of the town. Due to model railroading, we live in a compressed world as model railroaders, right? For Milford, I put the passing siding right in the town, which again, not necessarily prototypical. I thought about it putting it like in staging and just operating the passing siding from staging, but I put everything there on the main line. Still looks cool. For Frenchtown, I was able to get the passing siding like just on the edge of the town, so that's something that is a little bit more prototypical. I really didn't want the passing siding in the middle of Frenchtown. I tried to you know tried to avoid that as best as I could, and I avoided it probably just by a few inches, honestly. So passing sidings, trains didn't necessarily pull in and another train, came whizzing by. A lot of times, especially freight, if they were waiting for passenger trains to come through, those freight could be parked on that siding for quite a while. And if you look at some guys who run their model railroads, like they'll run their model railroads on a fast clock, and they'll talk about junctions and meets and that type of thing, you'll see that you may have to, if you're operating one of those railroads, you'll be stuck in that siding for a little while if you're operating a freight. The interesting thing about my railroad and the way that the Belvedere, Delaware operated is towards the end, like as passenger service was dwindled and passenger service was mostly like doodle bugs and diesel cars and that type of thing, the passenger trains actually got into the siding and gave way to the freight that was coming through, because at that time they they were losing money on passenger service essentially and making money on the freight that was zipping through there. You can see here, as I said, my Milford line is, the siding is right in the middle of the town. Again, still looks cool. Looks like I got like a little double track going on there. But it looks good, and I have two essentially I wanted that passing siding to be as long as I could, and I'm gonna get into passing siding length here in a minute. So I put two curved turnouts on either end there that lead into the curves, which kind of give you a nice, easement into those curves. And if you look on the other side, this part of the layout obviously not scenic at all. But I have the Frenchtown passing siding, which you can see Frenchtown Station is right here, and then just past that I have the passing siding, which led to like a little bit of an awkward piece where the co-op track comes off. But again, it's it works, it's functional. So that's the deal there. And both my passing sidings double as runaround tracks. The rule of thumb, and when you talk to people about how long should your passenger siding be, the like somehow the model railroading rule of thumb is 1.25 times the length of the longest train you're going to run. I get it. It doesn't need to be that way. It certainly wasn't that way on the railroad that I model. In prototypical operation, it was not that way. So long coal drags came down this Belvedere in Delaware. I mean, long coal drags. There was no siding, all right, on this railroad that could handle one of those coal drags. They were coming down, they were coming through. That's why these small gas diesel cars and everything else that was hauling passengers up and down towards the end, they gave way. So my rule of thumb, and I think you can get away with this, especially if you're setting up operation where you are just running through trains on your layout, is have your passenger siding be long enough to accommodate the longest local freight that you're going to run. All right, I feel like just a better way of saying it. So I can run like a 6-car local freight on mine, and that's fine. I mean, that on an N scale layout, that's a prototypical on most branched layouts. That's a prototypical local freight. So I don't subscribe to the thing where it needs to be equal to your longest train. And if you take anything away from this video, take that. All you need to do is have one train that is long enough to be parked on the siding, or short enough to be parked on the siding, and it seems pretty simple. So that's how my layout is set up. I will tell you, I'm very happy with that. I can turn around and I can run a through coal that is, a long train, and still have my local freight parked on the siding. All right. So ramble on. That is that's how I set it up. That's how I would say if I was designing another railroad, I like this so much that I would set that up as well. But again, it all depends upon your operation. If you're running long freights and you're running passenger service that's coming through there, that you're giving passenger service, the priority, then you're gonna need to have a siding that can handle that freight. The reality of it is most of us don't have sidings that big. If you're in N scale, you might be talking about a siding that could be, 6 to 8 feet long. HO maybe 10 feet long to handle sidings for like that size of freight. Most of us aren't operating with that kind of real estate. I know that I'm not, even though I do have, I think a pretty substantial layout behind me. It's you're just not operating with that. And if you do have that space, is that really what you want to use it for? So that's what I have to say. Listen, thanks for watching. My name is George. This is the Model Railroad Show, and let me know if you agree with the 1.25 length of your